brand new story, the skeletal base of Dead Space, which Striking Distance founder Glenn Schofield co-created, is apparent. So, can the spiritual successor live up to the original? In my preview time, I played the level called Habitat on PS5. We weren't able to capture our own gameplay, so the B-roll you're seeing from that level may not line up perfectly to my experience. Anyway, the first things I immediately noticed were the creepy ambient noises. Random squelching, clattering, and faint echoes all around made me feel constantly on edge. If nothing else, Collisto Protocol gets the creepy, constantly anxious environment down to a science. Controlling protagonist Jacob Lee felt a lot like controlling Isaac from Dead Space. You're constantly looking over his shoulders for what lurks ahead. Jacob feels very heavy in movement and feels less like a video game character and more like an actual person you're trying to push in the right direction. His melee attacks are a slower wind-up than your usual FPS melee strikes. His run also feels like a realistic jog speed and not like a tireless super soldier who never runs out of stamina. Jacob's heavy presence in the world combined with his deliberate pace made Collisto Protocol feel even scarier. For the same reasons, the combat is pretty slow and heavy itself. While this feels great in adding realism and anticipation, it was also slightly frustrating sometimes because I couldn't time the attack right to smack a biophage enemy immediately in front of me. With ammo being scarce, much like in Dead Space, melee seemed the best option for dealing with a monster in front of your face. You start with a pistol and a baton and can unlock a shotgun later. You also have the ability to use Jacob's GRP, or grip gravity weapon, to pull things towards you and also push them away. In combat, the grip does come in handy in pulling an enemy, then flinging them into a wall or object that can damage them further. There's limited battery on the weapon though, so you can't just constantly fling enemies off of you. While at the start of the level I could blast through enemies with my pistol at will and restock, I found that the further I went, the less ammo I would find. It got to a point where I realized that I had 5 total bullets left going through multiple checkpoints. Collisto definitely encourages you to save on bullets and use your environment and different combinations to fight through the torn prison, but it doesn't really help you realize you should be prioritizing other options, especially when you're given so much free ammo at the beginning. Being forced into a specific playstyle when you originally thought you had more freedom of choice was a little bit frustrating. The combat almost seems to reward perfect combinations of grip throws, pistol shots, and baton smacks. If I had known that going in, I would have been more ready and less frustrated with the lack of ammo. I played Dead Space and I know what limited ammo feels like, but in Collisto the ammo somehow feels even more scarce. At a certain point, the aliens you fight will spew tentacles from their chest, and when damaged enough, will mutate into a stronger form. When this happens, a single shot to the tentacles will keep them from mutating. But if you're out of ammo, or if you have just a few shots left and miss, you're very much out of luck and have to either try to melee and dodge, which feels incredibly difficult, or die and try again. This would often lock you into dying and respawning, a cycle that just got more frustrating each time I approached it. Going into Collisto is a challenging experience that really tests your survival skills with precise combinations of attacks. Certain parts of the levels were really like playing a Souls-like game that required you to do some practice runs and fail before getting that perfect pass to progress. Overall, now that I know what to expect, I'm willing to give Collisto another try since the environment was so well done, but I really need to be mentally prepared for frustrations and replaying specific sequences. For more on your favorite horror games, don't miss our hands-on previews of Resident Evil 4 Remake and Dead Space Remake. And for